Stephanie White is on the hot seat. Kelly Krauskopf sending new eyes and new ears to the coach's room saying, hey, keep an eye on that Stephanie White, will ya? Make sure she doesn't do anything that we wouldn't approve.
Stephanie White is officially on the hot seat, and the regular season hasn't even tipped off yet. This isn't just internet speculation, and it certainly isn't clickbait designed to stir up unnecessary drama. This is the undeniable, uncomfortable reality of the shocking power dynamic that just unfolded behind closed doors in Indiana. The front office just orchestrated a massive chessboard maneuver, taking Lin Dunn, a woman who has been aggressively shuffled through 3 entirely different job titles in 3 chaotic years, and dropping her squarely into the coach's private sanctum. Let's be brutally honest about what we are witnessing right now. Kelly Krauskopf, the returning mastermind behind the franchise, didn't just hire a veteran consultant to help out. She actively deployed a babysitter to monitor her brand-new head coach. The underlying message echoing through the practice facility is crystal clear. Keep a very close eye on Stephanie White, and make absolutely sure she doesn't do anything that the front office wouldn't explicitly approve.
Lin Dunn has been reintroduced by the Indiana Fever as a coaching consultant. If you guys remember, last year, Lin Dunn moved from the general manager to the Fever advisor. The Indiana Fever advisor, basketball advisor. In 2023, she inserted herself as the general manager of the Indiana Fever. 2 years later, demoted to the Fever advisor. 1 year later, another title change to coaching consultant.
To truly understand the gravity of this situation, you have to look at Lin Dunn's bizarre, unprecedented journey through the organization's hierarchy. She is currently collecting job titles like Thanos collecting Infinity Stones. Let's trace the timeline. Back in 2023, she forcefully inserted herself as the general manager, holding the ultimate keys to the franchise's future. Just 1 year later, as the spotlight of a generational rookie season intensified, she was quietly demoted to the ambiguous role of senior basketball advisor. And now, as we head into the highly anticipated 2025 season, her title has shifted yet again to coaching consultant. 3 years, 3 radically different titles, but the exact same person pulling strings in the background. But here's the fascinating psychological twist to this demotion. Each time she has been moved, she has seemingly lost formal executive power, but she has actually gained a more dangerous, direct line of influence. She went from running the front office to advising the front office to now physically sitting in the exact room where the daily game plans are constructed. That isn't a simple promotion or demotion. That is the strategic repositioning of a vital piece on a championship chessboard.
Glass half full. Let's take a look. Maybe Lin Dunn's the one who told Christy Sides at the second half of the Olympic break, you know what, Christy? Can we please do it this way? Can we please just let CC run the show? Can we do a fast-paced, up-tempo offense? Pushing the ball, pace, threes, scoring 100 points. Can we do that, please? Christy Sides said, sure, let's do it. Let's do it your way, Lin. We tried it my way, let's do it your way. Glass half full. Saw the effects of the second half of the rookie season.
But what if this move is actually the secret weapon the team desperately needs? If we look at this through an optimistic lens, there is a very compelling theory that Lin Dunn was the invisible hand that saved the 2024 season from total disaster. Think back to the catastrophic, sluggish start of that rookie campaign. The offense was practically unwatchable. But then, a miraculous shift occurred right after the Olympic break in August. The entire offensive philosophy was completely gutted and rebuilt overnight. They went from a slow, methodical, post-dominant nightmare to a lightning-fast, transition-heavy system that fully empowered their rookie point guard to run the absolute show. The statistical leap was staggering. The team surged from a mediocre 78 points per game to a blistering 87 points per game. The whisper around the league is that somebody high up in the organization finally walked into Christie Side's office and demanded that they stop playing old-school basketball. Is that mysterious voice of reason was Lin Dunn whispering in the head coach's ear? Then having her closely monitoring Stephanie White might be the exact insurance policy this explosive offense requires.
She was moved to Fever advisor at the beginning of last season. What did she advise? What did she help with? Free agency? Team building? How did that work out? So to think that she's now going to be, I'm going from an advisor to now the consultant, I'm going to be the coaching consultant, to now think that that's suddenly going to mean something, I'm not sure about that.
That optimistic theory actually holds a lot of weight when you examine Lin Dunn's recent track record of aggressively challenging the establishment. She is not afraid to go rogue when the franchise's future is on the line. Just look at the explosive revelations she dropped on the Dan Dakich show. She openly admitted to calling the league office directly during the early months of the rookie season to loudly complain about the horrifying officiating. She saw exactly what the fans saw: the flagrant fouls, the uncalled contact, and the physical targeting that went far beyond the boundaries of normal competitive basketball. She bypassed the standard protocols and demanded accountability. Furthermore, she publicly humiliated the Team USA selection committee for their incredibly controversial decision to leave the most popular player on the planet off the Olympic roster, calling the move downright foolish. She is a proven whistleblower who will speak up when it matters most, and that fearless mentality could be exactly what is needed to keep a stubborn coaching staff in check.
What is she going to consult? Are we expecting an old guard person, no disrespect to Lin Dunn, someone who's been around the game forever, has only seen the one style of play? Slow, methodical, old guard basketball, dump it into the post. Are we now supposed to suddenly expect her to come in and change Stephanie White's thought process and overhaul the offensive strategy and game plan? Hope so. Not necessarily too sure, but I hope so.
But there is a much darker glass half-empty perspective that is incredibly hard to ignore when you look at the raw facts. Lin Dunn was the official basketball advisor for the entirety of last season. So, the most logical question to ask is, what exactly was she advising? Because the roster construction heading into the most important rookie season in the history of the sport was nothing short of a spectacular disaster. The team had absolutely zero floor spacing, highly inconsistent three-point shooting, and a collection of players whose skill sets seemed perfectly designed for the slow, grinding style of 2015 basketball. Even more shockingly, Dunn admitted on the record that she had absolutely no idea what kind of massive cultural and on-court impact was about to hit the city. Think about the sheer incompetence of that statement for a second. The front office won the draft lottery in October of 2023. They had 6 entire months to prepare. 6 months to sign shooters, build a modern offensive playbook, and construct a dynamic roster around a player who thrives on pace and space. And they did practically none of it. That catastrophic lack of preparation happened entirely on Lin Dunn's watch as she transitioned from general manager to advisor.
Someone who was ill-prepared for Caitlin Clark's impact her rookie season, by her own admission. They got the first-round pick. Hey, Lin Dunn, Were you aware of what Caitlin Clark could possibly mean to the city? No, I had no idea. I had no idea. She was the general manager. Maybe start already piecing a team together for Caitlin Clark's arrival. Nope, not going to do that. Not going to do that at all. Oh, okay, that's interesting.
This brings us to the terrifying reality of Stephanie White's offensive philosophy, and why the front office might be hitting the panic button before training camp even begins. We need to look closely at White's recent coaching history in Connecticut, because the numbers paint a very concerning picture. During her tenure with the Sun, she operated a system that ranked a dismal 10th in pace out of only 12 teams in the league. Her offensive playbook was deeply structured, incredibly deliberate, and heavily reliant on dumping the ball into the post and waiting for the play to slowly develop. That is the exact opposite of modern game-breaking basketball. It is a philosophy that directly suffocates a generational playmaker who needs the chaotic freedom to shoot from the logo and throw full-court transition passes. There is absolutely zero historical evidence to suggest that Stephanie White naturally wants to run the hyper-aggressive, high-volume three-point system that the fans are desperately clamoring to see. And that philosophical clash is exactly why the front office is suddenly feeling the need to build a protective wall around their superstars' development.
This can also be just the next step in slowly removing her from the team in a meaningful way, passing her to be someone else's problem. Lin, I gotta be honest with you, Lin. I can't. Hey, Stephanie, Lin. Good news, Lin. You're now the coaching consultant, and you're gonna be hanging out a lot with Stephanie White in the coaches' room, and you get to consult over there. Kelly Krauskopf looks at Amber Cox. Whew, thought she'd never leave. Now remember, Kelly Krauskopf was initially part of the Fever in 2000. Lin Dunn came in 2004. Kelly's been with the Fever, sans her short stint in Indiana, the Pacers, and now back.
The tension in the building makes even more sense when you uncover the uncomfortable truth that nobody in Indiana wants to say out loud on camera. Stephanie White was not the franchise's first choice for the job. In fact, she wasn't even their second choice. Behind the scenes, the front office aggressively pursued the biggest names in the sport. They wanted Cheryl Reeve, but she declined. They took a massive swing at Becky Hammon, and she said no. They even targeted Nate Tibbetts, the highly respected associate head coach from Portland, and he completely passed on the opportunity. Stephanie White was simply the best available option after the top-tier elite candidates decided they didn't want the immense pressure of the job. That doesn't necessarily make her a bad coach, but it dramatically alters the power dynamic. When you are the fallback option, you do not get the luxury of a grace period. You do not get the benefit of the doubt from the fan base, and you absolutely do not get the freedom to run your specific system without intense, suffocating oversight from the people who hired you. Enter Kelly Krauskopf, the ultimate mastermind who just returned to the franchise to clean up the mess. You have to understand the massive organizational hierarchy at play here. Krauskopf is a founding pillar of the Indiana Fever, having been with the team since its inception in the year 2000. Lin Dunn didn't even arrive on the scene until 2004. When it comes to the ultimate pecking order of authority, Krauskopf completely outranks everyone in the building. She didn't leave a prestigious executive role with the Indiana Pacers just to come back and watch Lin Dunn run the show. And she certainly didn't return to let a second-choice head coach ruin the greatest offensive weapon the league has ever seen. So when Krauskopf officially moves Dunn from the advisory role into the coaching consultant role, that is not an empowerment move. That is a calculated reassignment. It is the president saying, I need you to step out of the front office and go do this one specific, highly sensitive job so I can fix the overarching roster issues my way. And that highly sensitive job is being the ultimate spy in the coach's room. Let's break down what the title of coaching consultant actually entails in the cutthroat world of professional sports, because it is deliberately, heavily disguised. She isn't an assistant coach. Those crucial bench positions are already filled with White's hand-picked staff. She isn't the general manager. That high-level operational role belongs to Amber Cox. So what does she actually do every single day? She observes, she analyzes, she takes meticulous notes, and then she reports her findings directly back to the team president. Lin Dunn is going to be physically present in the private film sessions. She is going to be standing on the sidelines during closed-door practices. She is going to be listening in on the intricate game planning meetings. This is not a collaborative partnership built on mutual respect. This is direct, unavoidable supervision. Every single coach in the league knows that when ownership forcefully injects a consultant into your inner circle, it means they do not fully trust your vision yet. It means you are essentially coaching on probation, and if you fail to adapt, your potential replacement is already sitting right across the table from you. The upcoming training camp is going to be a fascinating psychological experiment, and there are very specific red flags that everyone needs to be watching out for. Listen very closely to how Stephanie White addresses the media during her press conferences. How often is she using buzzwords like team basketball and getting everyone involved, versus talking about pushing the pace and maximizing transition opportunities? How much does she emphasize establishing traditional post touches versus promoting high-volume three-point shooting? Those subtle linguistic choices are the ultimate tells. If White starts preaching about offensive balance and making sure that the older veterans get their designated touches, that is the exact toxic old guard mentality that completely wasted the first half of the 2024 season. The entire purpose of Lin Dunn being in that room is to violently push back against that traditional mindset. She is there to slam her fist on the table and demand that the offense runs through a high-speed pick-and-roll 40 times a game, while every other player spaces the floor to the absolute maximum limit. But what happens if this precarious, forced marriage immediately falls apart? Let's address the massive elephant in the room that the local media is terrified to touch. What happens if the team comes out flat and struggles out of the gate? What if they start the incredibly hyped 2025 season with a catastrophic 0-4 record? What if the new methodical half-court sets cause a massive drop in their superstars' usage rate and overall production? At what exact moment does Kelly Krauskopf storm out of the executive suite, march down to the locker room, and declare that the experiment is officially over? And if that doomsday scenario unfolds, does the front office launch a massive mid-season coaching search?